Today we're going to create your first render, and it doesn't matter if you've never done it before. You've never done it before, but today we're going to go over how to do it and realize that it's not hard to do. I'll show you how to do it quickly and easily, even if you're a complete beginner. Let's go! As you can already see, here's a 3D render like this. Today we're going to create, and the first thing we need to do is import our 3D model. In this case, we're not setting up the material, we're just importing the models. They will automatically pull in because we have simple models here. Alright, we've uploaded our model. We don't have any materials in this render. So what you see right now, over here, on the left, there are no materials. These are standard materials. Alright, we have, for example, imported our model. Next, using the example of what I've already created, we'll break it down and I'll explain how it works. So first things first, we're creating our plane, which is our background. The background is just a huge piece, this plane, that we've stretched out to serve as the background, so it looks like this. Here's the gradient from black to red. It looked like this. Here's the gradient from black to red. We have a background that's simply connected to color. And emission. And like this, if we want to change something, we can either change it here, add more red, for example, or we can lower it down, our background, and make it darker or lighter. Got it. As we need. Alright, we figured out the background. For example, let's turn off all the light sources. So we actually have this kind of background. The first thing we do is add a dome light. We're adding our dome light. By default, it's very bright. Here's what happens if you just add a dome light, but our dome light is special. First of all, it has a hint of red, so that it fits better into the atmosphere. Here's what happens if you just use white. Just white is an uninteresting color, but if it's red, it adds more atmosphere. Okay. And the second thing is our HDRI map. This is what our HDRI map looks like. Alright, we won't focus on that. Let's move on. We have our first light source, which is responsible for having. These are the illuminated edges. This light is linked to a target. We have an effector on the light called a target. We create it, after which we create a null object. Select our null object as the target, and now where they will look. The null object, the light will follow it. This is the principle behind all the lighting in this scene. Alright, we have a target, in this case, just a bucket. We have this kind of white light with an intensity of 12 and a completely red color, so that you get these beautiful edges in the background. If we make it narrower, that effect won't be there. It won't stand out as well. Next to it is the area light, the one that looks from below. In this case, we don't use target because it disrupts things. If we press view, if we press camera, use camera, intellect object as camera, we will be looking from the light's perspective. That is, we can move around. And look, before rendering, we see what's happening. This way. We illuminate the lower edge of our object. Alright. The next light source is our main one. Let's hide the background so it doesn't get in our way. This is our main light source, which shines from the left side. It illuminates. It can become the main light that illuminates our object. We are looking at it from the left side, not from the camera side, for example. Here is our camera. We are looking from the left of it. That is, there should be another light source from somewhere. This is our vertical fill light. So that it isn't too dark on this side, the right side. Here before, here after it. This is also an important aspect, and we have another light, even more. In this case, here it adds to us a red tint, so it doesn't look too dull. Now let's move on to the camera. Set up the camera as it is configured here. Let's create it from scratch. For example, we have a camera. Let's go to it. Here we go into our camera. This is how our scene looks. From a general view, we go into the camera, go into optical, go into object. Here we have the focal length. This is the camera distance. In this case, Let's set it to 120, for example. Now we see that our camera has moved closer. It has become more from a different angle. What do we do next? Since we are in the camera, in this case in the camera, we can move and position the object, like this, as we wish. For example, we move in and place our object in the center of the screen. For example, we can also change it, the size of our image. Then it will become square, so we move in a little. After that, a very important aspect. It seems like everything is ready, everything is kind of cool. For a beginner, it's really quite cool. But how can we improve our render? We go into optical, check the box here in bokeh. Our object is completely blurred. We click here on the button, click to focus. And after that, when we are in the render itself, we select what the camera will focus its attention on. That is where the camera will focus. Look here. For example, we click, select the logo, after which the camera, accordingly, focuses precisely on the logo. Where we clicked. If we want a much stronger blur on our background, we can use this parameter and, for example, enter 3 here to see what happens. We see that the object has become more blurred. If we enter 1, it will be even more blurred. For example, to get a clear result here, then we see where our focus is. We can also check again this button, how it works. This is actually very useful. Here we can find out that it, you could say, measures distance, but it's too strong. Let's set it to 2, for example, and leave it like that. Good. Excellent. This is a pretty good render that looks appealing and with which you can already start doing something, developing. If back when I was just starting out, there were tutorials that explained things this simply and easily, I would have been very happy. And guys, if you want me to cover exactly what interests you, what you find unclear, how something works, write about it in the comments. I will make videos on this topic, so subscribe and stay updated. Follow my Instagram, I actively maintain it.